Welcome to Brand Rescue, a public relations podcast where we dig into the truth about what it's actually like to work in PR. I'm Whitney Lee. I ditched my fancy corporate job to freelance in small-town USA and ended up building an international PR agency. On this show, we skip all the BS and sugarcoating and get into the conversations our industry should be having. It's all real talk, and we love a hot take. Glad you're here. Let's get to it. Hey, y'all. Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. I hope your week is off to a great start. I am coming at you from Barcelona. I've got one more week left here, and then I'm going to be off to a new adventure. That is still TBD. I leave here in 9 days, and I haven't decided where I want to go next. And that is just, that used to not be my style. I would have to plan everything out in advance, but ever since like 2024, when I went full digital nomad for like a whole year, what I learned was actually some of the best moments and the best opportunities and experiences happened when it was like a game time decision. And I was about to book something and plan something, and I just had this like weird internal feeling that was just like, nope, you should wait. And so I am waiting. And I've had that feeling before in business. I've had that feeling before in travel. And I have learned that you always follow that feeling. Like something is going to pop up and the opportunity is going to show me. I'm going to be like, boom, that's it. That's what I'm doing. So I've got about a month left in Europe before the EU kicks me out. And then unfortunately, I will be headed back to the US. We've got some cool client events that are happening this fall, opening a new restaurant. I'll tell you guys about that as we get closer. But alas, unless I find a handsome Spaniard, Italian, someone to marry and give me EU citizenship, alas, I must head back to the US. So that's the travel update for y'all. Let's get into this episode because I think this is a conversation that a lot of agency owners are always trying to figure out. First of all, it's business development. It's like, how do we get more clients? How do we build a system that brings in consistent leads without using the connections and relationships of the founder or the president or the principal or whoever of the agency, right? Like, you don't want your agency to be built off of your connections. The business has to learn to stand on its own. So every agency owner, big or small, is still trying to figure this out. And as you grow and get bigger, I think it does depend on your relationships less and less, especially I've seen that. We're in year 13. And I have definitely seen that now. People start reaching out to us because of a few different things, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we are definitely getting clients that have absolutely nothing to do with my personal reputation or my connections. So that's really exciting to see that, evolve, because obviously when I first started the company, it was all about like, who did I know? How many hands was I shaking? And, how many events was I attending to meet new contacts? Like just constantly trying to drive new business. So the question is, though, do paid ads work for agencies? Because I do think that people Google when they're looking for an agency. So do paid ads help with this? And you know what? We had never done paid ads before until probably about a year ago. And I was like, you know what? We should just try this. Like, I'm a big fan of like, we may have our beliefs about things, but until you really try something, you cannot say, yes, this works, or no, it does not. So I was like, you know what? I think it's worth trying. So we have been doing Google ads for about a year for the agency, and we've been buying specific terms like hospitality PR agency, restaurant PR agency, hotel PR agency, things like that. And here's my honest take on it. I have no worries or fear about sharing any of this openly. Um, it has brought in some leads. But I will say this. It took a while to actually get it going. If you've ever done Google Ads, you know that like you've kind of got to play with the keywords for the first few months. Also, it's consistently watching them every day to up your bids. We do have people on our team that handle our Google Ads internally. And we also do paid social, not for our agency, but in general, that's a service we offer. So we do paid and organic social um, in the agency. So, but for us specifically, we've been doing Google search ads. Um, and it has brought in leads. Okay. Um, and, every month has been a little different. So I don't want to say it brings us X amount of leads every month because it's been different. And I think that's completely normal. There are times of the year, like December, ain't nobody shopping for agencies in December. Like you got Christmas happening. Like that's people wrapping up the end of the year. Like that's not when they're shopping for new agencies, right? So I don't think it's accurate for me to say it has brought in approximately this many leads every month because it has gone up and down. But I will say this, about 60% of the leads that it brings in, when I reach out to them, because they, fill out a form and we can track it all the way down to conversion, like them filling out the form. When they fill out the form and I reach out to them, I usually follow up 3 times before I just dip. But 60% of all of the leads do not respond in any way when I reach out to them. So 60% are complete garbage. I have no idea why they fill out the form and then they don't communicate whenever I ask to set up a call. Um, and then I would say the other 40%, um, they will entertain a call, one call only though. And when I am pitching somebody, I do an initial call to understand where they're at, what they need, explain how we work, and then I go back and I put together a proposal for them. And I do not email them the proposal. If they are really invested in this, they will hop on a second call to talk through the proposal. If they are actually thinking about like setting up a relationship with you for a 6 month to a year agreement, they would want a second call to fully understand what they're buying, right? So the other 40% of the ads will set up one call, and maybe even 40% is not even accurate. It may be 30. They'll set up one call and then they just want me to email them the proposal. And I don't roll like that because what that tells me is that they're just shopping me. They're quoting out 4 or 5 different agencies. They're trying to maximize their time. So they'll sit in on one call and then it's like, hey, email me the proposal and let me see how much you cost. And that's really the end of it. So, um, I'm trying to think back. I don't think we have closed one single deal in a year. And obviously, if we're spending $1,600 to $1,800 a month on these ads, that is about $15,000 we've spent and haven't closed a single deal. So that being said, we have refined them in a few different ways and chosen some different words or whatever. So I'm going to let it ride for a little bit longer. We actually went even more niche because obviously you don't pay unless people click, right? When you're doing search ads for Google. So we went even more niche with some of our terms, so that we can, hopefully the people that are reaching out to us are literally such a perfect fit that they won't ghost. Like hospitality is still pretty broad. If we're doing like hospitality PR agency, like that's pretty broad. So, we've niched down a little bit more and I'm going to let it go about 4 or 5 more months and see. But I personally, I just don't think those are good solid leads. I think it's people that are shopping people. So I don't know. I would love y'all's 2 cents, but what I was going to say in this episode is, instead of paid ads, what has been really effective? And y'all are going to want to punch a wall when you when I say the answer. It's referrals. It is referrals. It Referrals have brought me more business than anything. I mean, at the beginning, again, it was on my personal connections, but now referrals have brought me more than anything. And I think it's a mixture. It is past clients. So a lot of times in hospitality, people take new jobs, they pivot, they go on to a new company. And then when they get to the new company, they're like, I miss working with True Story. And they bring us along with them, which is pretty great. We love that. So that's why the relationship is never over. When somebody leaves a job, heck no, hang on to that relationship forever. So that has been one source, but honestly, one of the best referral sources for me is other agency owners. I've become so close with so many different agency owners throughout the years, and all of us do certain things. Every agency is so different. Now, the world is so integrated that every agency, like mine, okay? I own a PR agency, but we also do social media. We also do paid ads. Everything is so fluid now that, back in the day, it used to be PR agencies only did PR. Social media agencies only did social media. Well, that really hasn't been around that long, but ad agencies only did ads, but now it's you find ad agencies that are also doing PR, ad agencies that are doing social agencies that are doing ads. There's just so much overlap that I feel like you can't assume what any agency does. And I even tell our clients that. I'm like, I never assume, that a social media agency only does social media, because that's just not how the world works today, you know? So some of my agency friends do the exact same thing we do, several of the same services, but some of the services they don't mess with. So when they have a need, they already know and trust me, and they're like, oh man, this client needs this. And they reach out to me. And then vice versa for them. For the things that we don't do, first thing I'm going to do is call up one of my homies that owns another agency and, reach out to them and get them to quote it, helps us. It helps the client. I love helping my friends. It's actually such an amazing, perfect opportunity. So a lot of times when I want to do networking, I look for agencies that are adjacent to us, like graphic design agencies. We're not graphic designers, so it's perfect because they may have a client that needs PR or social. Same thing. I had a referral come in a few weeks ago from a guy that owns a website and a digital ads company. He's going to handle the digital ads and we're going to handle all the PR, social media, all that. Freaking match made in heaven, And then I even throw them a referral fee just as a thank you. So I do that for the first few months of if they send me a client, I send them a referral fee for the first few months that the client is on board with us, just as a way to say thank you. And most of the time people are so shocked by that. They're like, oh my God, you're going to send me money? And I'm like, yeah. I want to say thank you. You sent me money. You sent me this amazing client. You trusted me enough to give me an opportunity. That's a high thing, especially for me, man, for me to recommend somebody takes a lot. I have to know that you don't suck, and I have to know that you also are going to come through on your word. When a client, it terrifies me to recommend somebody to a client and then they don't do what they're supposed to do. That's mortifying for me, So same thing. If somebody recommends me, that is the highest form of flattery. And I'm like, thank you so much. I want to actually thank you. It's different to say thank you, but then to give somebody money. It's like people are shocked by it. So, yeah, I think that referrals from other agencies that are adjacent to what you do is an amazing opportunity. And it's so awesome when you reach out to these other agency owners. You don't have to feel weird and icky about like, you know, connecting with them. It's not like you're selling them anything. I even just tell them like, hey, I love connecting with other people in the industry and I'd love to learn more about what you guys do because we don't handle ABC, whatever it is they do. We don't handle web design, but I'd love to have somebody in my pocket when a client comes along and needs what you do. And immediately they're like, oh, wow, it, it's a two-way street. I don't immediately go to them and say, hey, if you ever need somebody or if you have a client that needs PR, please call me. I'm like, no, no, no. Actually, it's the opposite. First, I think about and I talk about, hey, we may have a client that needs because let's just be honest, most people in this world now, we are wired to worry about our own survival. That's human nature. So most of the people now, like, or the fastest way to get somebody to respond is to immediately lead into it, giving and not taking. So I think agency referrals, or past client referrals is a much faster way to grow your business. It's not as easy. Yeah, because paid digital ads, you just throw money at it. You throw money at it and you get leads. Whereas the other option is like building relationships. It takes so much time. It takes effort. It takes, you know, building a relationship doesn't happen overnight. So yeah, it is the long game, but also again, some of the best clients and relationships can come from that. And once the relationship is in place, I mean, again, it's not like you have to knock down their door every single day, but stay connected with them and genuinely ask, like, how are things going for y'all? Like, you know, and those relationships will be a pipeline for business for many, many years. So I personally think it's actually a better use of your money and time instead of paying for Google ads or social ads. We get nothing from social because that's not where our corporate person's hanging out. And also, like, what the heck happened to LinkedIn? Now it's just like a bunch of spam bots. It's awful. So, I don't know if maybe I should do a whole episode on that, but, dude, LinkedIn is just garbage as of late. So, um, it's just like the vibe has totally changed there and it's not authentic. It's half of those people I feel like aren't even real on LinkedIn anymore. So, anyway, that's a topic for a whole other episode. But that's my take, y'all. Do paid ads work? Yeah, they will bring you some leads. I can't promise that they're all going to be really valuable leads, and I can't promise that they're all going to close. I think you're going to close so many more deals going the relationship angle, even though upfront it's going to take a good amount of work. You know, you got to consistently be nurturing the relationships that you already have, staying connected with those people, and then also finding new connections. So, but yeah, I think save the money on ads and spend that on getting in the room with other business owners, connecting with other agency owners. Like that to me is a better use of your budget, to try to drive more clients. So anyway, y'all, I hope this was helpful and I'd love to know your thoughts. Are you doing Google Ads? Is it going over well? Are you getting a bunch of really good, high quality leads? And are you closing the deal? So please, if someone out there is crushing it with this, holla. I would love to hear exactly, like more about what you're doing with that and how long it took and how much are you spending each month and all those things because we haven't seen much of a return on it. But again, I still think there's value in trying something and giving it time to develop rather than trying it for 5 seconds and then cutting it off immediately. So All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Would always love to hear your thoughts and suggestions. If you got comments or if you have an idea for an episode, let me know. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next episode. That's it for today. If something in this episode landed for you, share it, screenshot it, and send it to someone in the industry who needs to hear it. And come connect with me personally on Instagram @TheWhitneyLee, or you can find me on LinkedIn. See you next week.